Hey, it's Uncle Joe with Uncle Joe Hikes. As you probably figured out, we're at Brasstown Bald. And we're not going to the summit today. We're actually going out on the Wagon Train Trail. I've been on this trail before. It's been some time though, and I really wanted to get back here again. So, yeah. Let's see what we can see out here on the Wagon Train Trail. Well, you reckon that tree's rooted well? It's a very hazy day today. My understanding is from the Canadian wildfires. Sun's trying though. This Wagon Train Trail is built on an old roadbed from like the 40s, I think, and goes all the way down to Young Harris. We won't go that far. We'll try to get down to where the other kiosk is. It's a good way to hike in from that side and up to the summit. If you want to get a good hike in and you don't want something as difficult as the Acoustic Trail, this is a nice choice. Well, we made it to the upper gate here. Little sign back there says foot travel only. I believe at the other end where the kiosk is at the bottom is also a gate. So there's really no way you could drive up in here. It'd be tough riding anyway, because nature's reclaimed so much of this trail. There's our informational kiosk there. Don't get eaten by bears, don't litter, stuff like that. All right, here we go. We got a little runoff here, a little seepage. We're still probably 4,000 feet or so up, because we're just below the summit of Brasstown Bald. It's amazing to me that water still makes its way down. Well, about a half a mile in, give or take, we come to our Brasstown Wilderness sign. Always nice to know where you are. Pretty uneventful so far. We have been seeing some blooms, some laurel blooms, and I think I saw some rhododendron blooms out as I was coming up the paved trail and up the road coming in too. So it's hard to say what we will see. Hoping we see some more. You know, as we get lower in elevation, we may see less. I don't know. You try to go by past photographs and videos and stuff, but that doesn't always, mean nature's going to be on any kind of strict timetable, right? We've had very mild May. Getting up some mornings it's downright chilly, like it was this morning. So this is highly unusual weather, temperature wise, so that could also impact how the blooms behave for just about any plant, I guess. Anyway, getting into some vegetation encroachment coming up here, so hopefully it won't get too growed over. Well, as you can see, we're getting a little bit of growth encroaching on the trail here. You can still make out the trail bed pretty easily. It's not terribly bad, but when you look ahead, you're thinking, oh my goodness, where's the trail? But once you get up to it, you can see it okay. This is kind of a saddle, and it always looked to me like there was an old trail going up that way maybe, but not anymore. Anyway, we're still able to make out the trail okay. Well, that is some fresh scat of some kind. I don't know that it's bear. It's awfully dark though, like bear. I don't know that it's a dog because I don't think anybody's out in front of me or anything, but make a little noise. Hopefully we won't scare anything that we'd be scared of. here's this little cliff wall here, playing drones overhead. You can see the vertical drill marks where they drilled in to blast the rock. You can really see down here too. Blast away this sidewall so they could put this whole roadbed in. Got a little bit of laurel blooms coming actually. You can see the buds, and over here I just walked right past them. A whole bunch of them. So it's good to see. Awesome. More over here. We continue to walk along this sidewall here, and I am seeing some human tracks. My guess is they were yesterday's. A little bit of seepage here coming off onto the trail. You can see it dripping there. So we got some laurels keeping us company, which is really nice. And I remembered there being some drainage here on the trail. This kind of is what it is. Now this particular laurel has a lot more white and almost no pink like the others. Really beautiful. And more, you can see the drill marks. Lots of moisture. This would be a really cool area to hike on a hot day. A, you're up in elevation, and B, you got that rock to your side with the cool water running down it. So we're by no means hot today, but if you're ever looking for a upper elevation hike, want to beat the heat down low, this would be a good one. There is at least one overlook. We'll be able to look back at Brasstown Ball here in a bit, and I think there may be even one other, but I could be mistaken on the second one. Well, we come to this little opening. Got some little laurel bushes blooming here. We can see back. Can't quite see Brasstown, it's back over here, but that ridge right there, I believe, is the ridge that the Acoustic traverses. Well, we're opening up to another saddle here. And weeds are pretty tall, but people are traveling enough on this trail to keep it beat back at least. Anytime the canopy opens up and the undergrowth gets a chance to get growed up. Well, we just came across that gap, which is flipping us back over to the west side of the ridge. Not much really in the way of views yet. Actually, we got something that's been digging right there. That's something. This trail kind of bows out and around, so at some point I'm pretty sure we're going to have a little place we can look back at the tower. But we'll see. Still a beautiful hike. We've been alternating between rhododendrons and laurels. So right now we got rhododendrons here on our right. We just went through a laurel tunnel a little while back, so you know, off and on. You can see a lot of rock tripe on this sidewall. What's interesting about it is, and it's hard to get perspective from this far back, but those sheets, the sheets up there are probably, some of them are probably 6 by 9 inches, but you got some sheets over here that, I mean, those are big. It looks like fabric draped over the rock. It's just really, really cool. We continue to see laurel blooms. See some up there. Pretty prolific up there, actually. The sun may be glaring that out, but yeah, good to see. I want to say we drop about 2,000 feet. I'll have to go back and look, but I seem to recall that to be right. But it's spread over several miles. It's a very, very gradual descent down to Young Harris. And, you know, it's by no means is there anything that's going to tucker you out other than it's just a slight grade and distance. So on the way back, you'll be climbing, but like I say, very mild grade, all things considered. Here you can see where this rock has popped off the side of the rock face there. Obviously since the road was here, or after it closed, because it hasn't been moved. So nature continues to do what nature does. Well, we got some jumbled rocks here. It's like people have been going out onto them. You could almost, I'm sure in the wintertime you could get a view of the summit of Brasstown Ball from here, but this is not the perch that I remember, but it is an interesting spot. We're back here along the wall. You can hear the water seeping along, dripping. Got an orange tinge to the wall in places too, like maybe there's some copper or maybe iron. So when you're hiking, especially a trail that seems relatively straight, you think everything behind you is directly behind you. So as I'm coming to these openings, I'm kind of like, no, I don't see Brasstown yet. Well, we've already made a huge turn. And it turns out Brasstown is right there. So, yeah. This is a little perch area here. There's some jumbled rocks. Looks like an old log fell here, but old tree. But anyway, there's our Brasstown Ball. And we came from just below it, but kind of like to the left, behind that hump back there. And we've come all the way across this this ridge, and that ridge going that way is where the Algonquin comes in. So, but anyway, there it is, highest point in Georgia. All right, we're gonna move along. Still got a good bit of trail yet to hike. We make our way down to the kiosk. So here's our second look. So there is a second perch. I thought that I remembered there being one. Yeah, so we're just 60 yards or so from our last one. But anyway, another nice area to sit and take a break too. This one's a little bit more open and you can access the rocks a little easier. So yeah, good view. You can imagine coming up from Young Harris and then hitting these two spots and seeing where you gotta get to yet. Yeah, if you're already tired when you got here, of course, you'd be like, man, I thought I was a lot closer than that. Always that last mile. So I'd forgotten all about this little camp spot here. So the trail's gonna make a hard right here. You kind of forget stuff when you don't hike it for a while. You know, it's been a few years since I've been here. But yeah, always nice to revisit. So I remember this wall, and for whatever reason I was thinking maybe it was further back and that maybe it had just gotten overgrown, but no, it's still here and exposed. You can see where these pinkish purple flowers, these large flowers have fallen. I believe they've come out of this rhododendron up there. But yeah, it's just a really interesting wall. I remember this before, it's all moss covered. It's just really, really cool. We could see some more flowers up here. Maybe we'll be able to see them. Yeah, they've fallen and gathered there up on the wall. You can see some of them down here falling down. So that's the plants let go of the flowers once they've done their job. But the trail takes on a slightly different air about it when you make that right hand turn back there. So just interesting. We're kind of coming down a bit of a wash here. Lots of rock. Basically looks like the middle of a stream bed, which means it's just getting a lot of runoff after a storm. You can see where it's piled the duff up there in the middle. But it's dry now, which is nice. That's some bona fide drainage right there. It's just seems to come out of nowhere, adding to some runoff that's gathered a little ways back. So I couldn't even really see anything above it, so that may have been traversing underground till it hit that side slope, that little rock ledge, and just popped out. Water makes its way one way or the other. Yeah, once you leave those perches and the views of Brasstown Ball Summit, it's largely just a walk in the woods. So there are interesting things to see, like the side slope, runoff, and the rock walls. But just understand, probably not getting any big views. But that's fine with me, because I like walking in the woods. So. But you get to see some nice things, you know, like these laurel blooms, which is nice. I wish I could have seen more rhododendron blooms than we got to see, but it is what it is. Well, we have some rhododendron here. This is a short leaf variety, and I've often conflated this as laurel, but looking online, this is actually a rhododendron flower. So you can tell by the flower. And when you look at a laurel, you get these kind of little teacup look about them. Now they will be in clusters, as we've seen already, in big round clusters together. This one here has just got some sparse flowers, but these rhododendrons, they kind of look a little azalea-ish in the way that the flower is. So it's more of a cone with irregular petals. So, but it's some sort of a short leaf variety. Maybe it's the same variety we saw up on that rhododendron trail that has one of the largest collections, natural growing groves of these things. So we did that on the rhododendron trail up at Lake Russell. But yeah, beautiful. Good to see them. Well, there are some flame azaleas that have finished out. Not to lose their petals. We haven't seen any azalea other than that, so you have some nice runoff across that rock. You can see it coming from way up yonder. Running pretty good. We work our way across it. Thank goodness for rocks to go across. Anyway, working our way down here to the kiosk. So it's opened up a good bit right here. So we're making our way. Right back there, I heard something up on the side slope kind of whimper. Could have been a bird. It just kind of made this kind of a higher pitch than that. Anyway, found that interesting. Maybe it was watching me. Well, the trail kind of skirts this mushy area here. You can see a lot of seepage coming there. You can see big rock, but it looks like there's a lot of dirt been coming out of here. It could be that maybe a bear's been denning up in there. I don't know. But anyway, we gotta stay off of that old trail bed there because it's just all mushy. So they've pulled the trail over here. People kind of been making the way around it. But you can see they've trenched it out. Try to get it off the trail here. So we get over this this branch here. Well, this tree came down pretty recently. Came off this rock here. Took out this guy and another one. So he's a big fella. He's like a bowling pin. When he comes down, he's taking the rest of them. Anyway, onward we go. This is a beautiful spot. Got some seepage runoff there, some seepage here. It's all going over this big slab, or at least down by this big slab. Really cool. We are getting some peeks through the trees of the far ridges, but largely we're in a green tunnel, much like the AT, but get rewarded every once in a while with a little peek. Peekaboo. There's some more of that short leaf rhododendron. Over here beside me is a white one that's more white. Well, things have opened up a good bit. I think we're getting really close here. We got the gate here. Won't be too much longer now. Well, we got a sassafras bush here and a little beetle chowing down on it there. Well, we got a little bit of a view there. We're still making our way to the kiosk. It's actually a little further than I thought from that lower gate. That gate back there probably would have been a good turnaround spot too, but there are some interesting things along the way here. I saw some fire pinks and of course the spiderwort. I mean, because we're sinking in elevation, we're getting some variety. Right here we're just going through this tunnel of laurels. Well, there's the lower gate. There's the Brasstown Wilderness sign. Here's the lower kiosk. So we made it. I think it's right at about 5.5 miles one way. I was thinking it was 4.4 or 4.8 for some reason. Yeah, it's wrong. So yeah, it's going to be about a 12-mile round trip. So close to it. So anyway, we're going to take us a break right here and then start working our way back. All right, we're packed up. We're getting ready to head back. I checked the All Trails track and it's 5.5 miles to here. So it's only another mile down into Young Harris to the lower parking area. I've never been around there. It's a long way to get up to Young Harris for me, so it's just easier to go to Brasstown, hike to here and back. But it's probably a lot more compelling to go to Young Harris, hike up to the summit of Brasstown Ball, and then hike back. But anyway, we did it this way. This is the way I've always done it, so take that for what it's worth. But anyway, we got 5.5 miles to go back, so, and it's going to be uphill, so it's going to take us a little bit longer probably, but we'll get after it and see how it goes. Got us a couple of fire pinks here. Kind of cool. Saw those on the way in. We're still working our way up to that middle gate. I thought it was fairly close to the bottom there, but it's actually more like a mile and a half. So we probably got a quarter mile yet to get to that. Well, coming through our gate, this would be the middle gate. So that's kind of a milestone, right? A mile marker for you. I think for me the next one will be that mossy wall. We'll hit that camp spot and hang a left. Well, there's our moss wall. It's kind of like a hanging garden. See the plants up there? Really cool. Well, here's our main perch here. Rest Town, Lumen Large. All we gotta do is get across this ridge and then down to the Jeep. Beautiful. Well, it's a bit of a slog coming back. My hips are really hurting me. But this is the longest hike I've done in a while. It's gonna be right at what, 11 and change. So it's not a strenuous hike in that there's steep climbing or anything. It's just long and a lot of rocks. That makes it strenuous. But yeah, we got a mile and a half, so not too bad. One last little overlook. It's real hazy. Brasstown is actually up around ahead of us, so we can't really see it at this point, but that's a good thing. That means we're closing in. Well, there's our kiosk. There's our gate. Well, we're back at the Brasstown Summit Trail. That goes up to the top. This goes down, which is where we're going. And here we are. There's old Earl. Earl's my new yellow Jeep. It's going to be my daily driver. Waiting patiently. Hopefully nobody broke in and got my hacky sack. I want to practice that. Well, Wagon Train Trail done. Done it before, but it was good to do it again. It's about 11 miles round trip. I had about 12 and a half miles in steps. It's a slog coming back. I would recommend doing this from Young Harris, then summiting Brasstown Ball and then going back, but it'd be a long trip back. Just because there's a 5.5 doesn't sound much, but actually it's 6.5 back to Young Harris. But there's a lot of stuff in the trail, so you know, there's a lot of rock and it's tough on your feet. Anyway, we're gonna get out of here, get something to eat.